Well, Chuck's got the weekend off, so guess what? You and I are going to take this show on the road.
Buckle up for a Horsepower TV on the road special. First stop, Michigan, where we head back to happy days when 49 through 51 Fords and Mercs ruled the roads. We'll meet a Ford flathead guru whose amazing innovations make this classic motor run reliably with more power. We'll go to Tennessee to settle the score between the quickest 96 Impalas of the land and take you to a Smoky Mountain museum full of muscle car memories. So hang on for Horsepower TV.
Hi, welcome to Horsepower TV and our On the Road special. Well, first stop, Plymouth, Michigan, a town that looks like it's lost in the 50s. And we found a group of Ford and Mercury owners here who feel right at home.
Their passion is Ford shoeboxes and Mercury bathtubs made from 1949 to 51. And most drove their revered rides to this annual meet just outside of Motor City. It's an event that evolved from a growing Ford and Merc fanaticism among Jim Genty's generation.
We were probably driving 30s and 40s cars, and when the shoebox Fords came out in 49, the 49 Mercurys came out, they were just instant hits with everybody. And almost everybody found out a way to get one.
From taillights to tailpipe, some are just as bone stock as when they got them. Others represent a half century of hot rodding and customizing on an ever-popular platform.
It's what you would call highly modified. It's been bored out, it's stroked, ported, it's relieved, it's got a 4-barrel carburetor in it, and a 3/4 race cam, which makes it quite swift. Everybody responds to the car, either with a look, a smile, a high five, a thumbs up. Well, it's a smooth, strong, reliable vehicle, and it makes a trip for a mile for a loaf of bread or 1,300 miles from Florida a pure joy.
Eugene Blackwell's pride and joy is the 51 Mercury he found after a 6-year search. It's got 24 coats of paint and some unique touches, from the Continental kit to the outside sun visors.
It's all molded into the car. There's no seams. They usually have like bolts in the roof, you know, and that didn't look cool. So I had them mold it right into the roof. The Continental kit is molded into the body. There's no seams, no place.
It was 4 years in the making, but the result is an old Merc masterpiece.
The only bad part is we have that 4x60 air conditioner. Do you know what that is?
No.
60 mile an hour and 4 windows open.
Well, speaking of cool customs, a California Ford freak drove this beauty to Plymouth, a guy who couldn't decide if he wanted a 1950 or a 51.
Ford started making Victorias, hardtops, in 1951. I always preferred the simpler grille and trim from the 1950 models, so I started with a 51 Victoria and fitted all the pieces from a 50 front end, rear end, dash, and so it gives the illusion of being a 50 Victoria even though they don't exist. My wife was sitting in the car yesterday and 2 women walked by, and one of the women looked at it and said, well, that must be some prototype of something they're going to make. And the other woman said, you boob, that's a 50 Ford.
And they were both wrong in a way.
Right. Right.
Okay, while customizing choices run the gamut, most of these Ford and Mercury guys have one thing in common, and that's a monumental motor, the fabulous flathead V8 that was planted in these cars until the early 50s.
The old timers will tell you that nothing sounds like a flathead, and that's really true. You'll hear these cars throughout the day start up, you'll know a flathead right away.
Well, here's where you can hear dozens of flatheads humming in unison. An historic cruise around the Ford Dearborn testing grounds. Maybe for the first time since they were test driven here 5 decades ago.
You get behind the wheel of this and you're 16 all over again. And I guess that's what us old goats are doing. we're buying our youth back, you know, but it costs a lot of money, but it's worth it, every penny of it, yeah.
Hopefully, newer generations will someday carry the torch of enthusiasm for classic mid-century shoeboxes, pounding the pavement and turning heads on into the next century and beyond.
You've got grandfathers encouraging grandkids, and you got some young guys that are real excited about building a car just like Grandpa had.
Next stop, Kentucky and Tennessee for a celebration and shootout with 94 to 96 Impala SS's.
Hi, welcome back. Well, now we're heading south to a unique Chevy celebration. It's all focused on a bow tie breed that has an incredible faithful following. In fact, many people consider this a classic heavy Chevy.
The first Impalas leaped from America's showrooms in 1958. Although as the winds of muscle car wars picked up, it was the famed 409 that made the 61 a real full-size flyer. A muscle car monarch that blew them away on the streets and strips of America. Of course, the legacy lived on in other impressive Impalas like the 65, with its paragon of brute force, the 454. We'll flash forward to the 90s and the latest chapter of a mighty muscle car era. This is a gathering of 94 to 96 Impala Supersports and their owners who've come to celebrate what may be the last factory muscle car of the millennium.
Now just check out this beautiful 95. It's got the stock LT1 still under the hood, but just check out what the owner's done. Look at all those beautiful touches of Chevy orange. Now with a car getting rare like this and looking so great, you would dream of taking it out on the drag strip, would you? Or would you?
I really get a kick out of running at the track and passing the cars that really feel, and all the drivers that feel like they should be faster.
Last rear-wheel driven car that you can still make horsepower with.
It seems to be a little bit more expensive to modify the late model cars with the smog requirements and all the computer-controlled equipment, but it's still a lot of fun.
This is the most fun you can have without going to jail.
A couple dozen members of the National Association of Supersport Owners have attacked this track in Tennessee during their annual event. It's a private 8th-mile drag racing shootout among stock and modified street-driven SS's.
Every time you drive them, you want to do just a little bit more, and that little bit more is our passion for these cars.
The top gun of the SS arsenal belongs to John Rathsett, a 409 stroker stimulated with 200 pounds of nitrous. He was first to break into the quarter-mile 11s after a diligent search for power and the loss of 8 broken trannies.
4,500 pounds of car going down the road, I mean, break a lot of parts, but I figured out how to keep it together finally.
And one of those most familiar breakable parts was the transmission, wasn't it?
Yeah, the 4L60E is a weak unit, but I finally, I think, got it figured out where we can keep the tranny in. So far, I have achieved to be the fastest Impala, 94 to 96 Impala, but it's been a costly road.
John's record's on the line today, along with bragging rights, all because of challenger Troy Clark, who brought his 96 SS from California.
This engine here has a stroked small block. Its displacement's 396 cubic inches, forged parts all around. It was built for me by Motorsports Technologies in Houston. And we're running about 150 shot worth of nitrous through it, making just shy of 700 horsepower to crank. John and I are both running in the low 11s, and he's got me right now with the #1 slot. He's just eked me out by 200ths of a second. So we're going neck and neck, and we'll run head-to-head today to see how it goes.
Think you can handle him today?
I think I got a little for him.
Yeah, I think John will be sorry that he, came up with against me, but we'll see.
But now let's get back to the track. It's time for finals and the big showdown between the two top Impalas of the pack.
Troy's better reaction time helps him and his SS power down the track with an 8 mile 788, enough to conquer the king at least this time.
I was glad to beat him, even if he has the best ET still. He's still got the #1 spot, but at least I got the jump on him.
Yeah. I know where my competition's at.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
It's a close race.
That's right. Sure is. Sure.
And there will be another tie.
Oh, there will. There will. We'll be back.
And no doubt, both with more power than ever. All in a muscle machine that may someday reign as the top full-size flyer of this decade.
20 years from now, we'll look at this Impala SS and wish we would have bought one.
Next, we head east to the Smoky Mountains, to a museum loaded with muscle car memories.
Welcome back to our Horsepower TV on the road special. We made a stop here in the Smoky Mountains at the NASCAR Speed Park. They got no less than 8 tracks to satisfy your horsepower hunger. But when it's too wet to race, well, we found just the place you can go to satisfy that horsepower need. In fact, this place has got the most muscle cars you'll ever find under one roof.
It's Floyd Garrett's museum in Sevierville with an incredible, ever-changing cast of magnificent muscle cars. Ones that'll make you dream and make you drool.
Muscle cars is my love, and I just think there's more interest in muscle cars than there is anything else. And I just had too many cars and I needed a place to put them.
He also has a lot of friends who loan their prized rides so that visitors can relive special memories through them. Memories both good and bad.
Well, I think the bad memories, they got outrun or blowed the motor and scattered it all over the strip.
Yes, a stroll through here invariably brings back recollections of racing. That's what most of these muscle cars were all about, whether it was down and dirty drag racing or the high banks of NASCAR. Cars like this 63 Impala lightweight with an aluminum front and rear end, radio and heater delete of course. Or this Monte Carlo Aero Coupe, built to meet NASCAR requirements, of which only 200 were sold. This Ford Talladega was a hit at the circle track, but a flop at the showroom. Clarence Thompson was one of only a few hundred who just had to have one.
The average customer sort of thought they were a little ugly. They had a hard time selling them, and I don't know whether it's a blacked out hood for the glare or just the fact that the long nose on it.
It's the uncommon muscle machines that are both extra interesting and valuable, like this 69 Trans Am, one of only 8 TA convertibles built, one of only 4 with a Muncie 4-speed.
One of the favorite rare rides here has to be the 69 Camaro. Why is it rare? Well, it's the only one with an option that costs more than the car itself. See, the base price was $3,000. The optional ZL1 aluminum engine, an extra $4,000. Small wonder then that only 69 were made.
Ford guys will love this 67 GT500 that was one of 2,000 built with a factory 355-horse Police Interceptor engine. But the rarest of the rare might be this 62 Vet, on loan from North Carolina collector Tom McNeil. No, your eyes don't deceive you. The odometer correctly measures 0 miles.
Chevrolet sent that car to a guy to race in pieces. And Tom bought it from this guy because he never raced it. And when he got it, the body and the frame was in a crate, the engine was in another crate, transmission and rear end, and he assembled the car and it has never been fired.
Small wonder Floyd Garrett's gathering of muscle machines is a popular attraction for countless car-crazy visitors. It's a sentimental journey through time to the amazing heyday of factory-made high performance, captured for all times at the Muscle Car Museum.
People keep coming. I'll keep doing it for a while. I didn't set it up to go out tomorrow. I hope that 10 years from now you're back and I'm still here.
Coming up, we'll cover the whole country in search of our top 10 everyday horsepower heroes.
Well, as we head back to the shop, let's try something different. You know, our travels have led us to some incredible people and machines that define the high-performance lifestyle. So we're going to call this our top 10 everyday horsepower heroes.
We all love the top dogs of NHRA, but it's the heroes of street racing that win our high-performance hearts. And there's no winner like Tony Christian, whose 6-second, 200-mile-an-hour runs in his fabulous Firebird made him the unstoppable NMCA champ. We also love fast street fighters that represent a blast from the past. And this 66 GTO, driven by Randy Adler, is a blown alcohol outlaw that thrilled us at many races in the past couple of years. Running in the sixes at over 200 miles an hour, it's one galloping goat. Pro Mod has been an exciting anything-goes drag racing class for years, thanks in big part to its winningest racer, Scotty Cannon. We caught up with Scotty and his alky-blown killer Mater in his Pro Mod career finale, running a meager for him 640 at 214 miles an hour. Hey, we've got a category for everything, and the top streetcar burnout honors belong to Paul Barnes, who puts on 8th-mile smokers like this at events around the country, along with stout exhibition runs in his 59 Bad Cat. Of course, anywhere there's smoke, there's fire. And anywhere there's a drag strip fire show, there's Bob Mott's and his 17,000-horse F4 Phantom Jet Big Rig. Bob's been roasting tracks like this one for 20 years, and he's earned the title of foremost flamethrower. But the top show-off of the strip is also the guy with the fastest car on 2 wheels, Danny O'Day and his Super Rich. He's the only wheel stander to take his 1,500 horsepower trick car down the track in 8 seconds on the rear meets. Back in the early 70s, before funny cars were making 300 miles an hour and big bucks, there were weekend heroes like Neil Armstrong and his Corvette Shark, now chewing up the competition in match races that recapture the pre-high-tech funny car fun days. We prefer rides that go instead of show, but when it comes to concourse cars, you gotta love the imagination that goes into odd rods like Ron Heitman's 41 Double Dodge. A car Ron built that literally doesn't know if it's coming or going. While most of our horsepower heroes have four-wheel mean machines, we also have to highlight our pick for two-wheel feats. John Mancuso not only rides the All-American Harley, he races his nitro-powered 600-horse drag bike to consistent 6-second runs. Our final horsepower hero pick is a group award, one that goes to all the youngsters in America and their parents who participate in the Junior Dragster program. It's a character and confidence-building hobby, and it gives us confidence that the future of grassroots high performance is secure in the hands of these future horsepower heroes.
Okay, we'll be back home with hot parts right after this.
Now, Horsepower's Hot Parts, brought to you by Summit Racing Equipment, your source for high-performance parts for 30 years.
Home sweet home. You know, everybody's looking for parts these days that work as well on the road as on the drag strip. And here's a new fuel pump from a company called Aeromotive that seems to fit the bill. It's engineered to handle 1,000 horsepower, yet durable and reliable enough for your daily driver. Inside the billet body, they use aerospace composite rotor material and CNC machined aircraft-grade aluminum. The result is a pump that flows 500 pounds per hour at 12 volts and 45 PSI. So you can pump up the performance of your street strip fuel delivery system for about $300. They've got a regulator that goes for $140. On a long road trip like the one we just had, you want a tire that performs great on wet and dry surfaces, wears evenly with low noise, and looks great too. Well, this new Proxys T1S from Toyo seems to have it all. Now, I had a chance to test this tire personally at Willow Springs recently on a road course, cones, and a skid pad, and I have to tell you, it performed as well as its competition or better. It uses a silica reinforced tread compound with a design that promotes stability on the corners and has these wide water channels for effective draining. Now, they come in a big variety of sizes and prices. In racing, the old theory was use a thick gear lube so it'll stick to the gears and reduce wear. Well, the problem was you also increase friction, drag, and heat. Well, nowadays, X1R is using aerospace technology in their new synthetic gear oil. Allows you to lower your operating temperatures while picking up horsepower at the rear wheel. Of course, it's intended for racing only, but for your daily driver, their engine concentrate will pick up some horsepower and mileage for about 14 bucks. The oil goes for 35. Well, that's it for Hot Parts. Next week, Chuck and I will get our hands dirty again, and here's what you'll see.
The Ford Flathead, one of history's most monumental motors. They're hot again, and we'll build one with some nifty nostalgic pieces and some high-tech bolt-ons like a supercharger. Then we'll test our build-up's benefits on a state-of-the-art dyno. And a hot rod face-off featuring a 5-window coupe from the last millennium versus a modern rod from the new one.
Oh, and remember, high-performance fun is what this show is all about.
Horsepower TV is an RTM production.